All right, a rapid reaction to Oklahoma's big win, Oklahoma's dominant win Wednesday night over Texas A&M Commerce. Some takeaways from what we saw for the game, and I think the main takeaway from me is, look, they went out and did exactly what they needed to do. They went out and did exactly what I think we expected them to do. They led early. They led by a lot. The bats were good. In the circle, I was impressed. The defense was solid. So I think overall up and down, no, it wasn't perfect, and we shouldn't expect this team to be perfect mid-October, but you did what you needed to do. You went on the road in a cold weather game in front of a lot of fans, which we'll talk about, but you handled business. And no, a national championship trophy was not given out today. Like, no one's handing out accolades for a Wednesday night win in the fall against Texas A&M Commerce, a team that you should really handle. But I think overall, top to bottom, there were a lot of good things and a lot of good things to take away. Sam Landry, I thought, looked excellent once again in the circle. She got the start tonight. No runs allowed, no runs given up, very few hits as well. And then just the power tonight. The power really showed up. And kind of more than anything in a game like this, it's hard to take away a lot. Again, this is just the fall. This doesn't even necessarily count as a win. Nobody even won a position battle tonight. You take tonight for what it is. It's a game in the fall. It's excited to see this team, kind of play someone else other than in the battle series, and they went out and took care of business. But you can just see Oklahoma's talent level against the team that they're far superior than really take over. And again, that's what you want to see. You saw Ella Parker, put on an absolute show tonight. You saw Cassidy Pickering do some very special things. You saw back-to-back-to-back home runs tonight for Oklahoma. Ella Parker hit a couple of those. Nelly McEnroe-Marinas hit a home run as well. The back-to-back-to-back home runs, probably, the best three moments right there in a row in the night, which is really cool. But a lot of power, just a lot of power that really showed. Not necessarily a great night for hitters, a great situation for the hitters going up against Texas A&M Commerce, but you could tell that it was a little bit cold that night, but players are hitting the ball off the scoreboard. Hannah Core is hitting the ball off the scoreboard as well as a couple of other players. So, yeah, look, I'm not going to have some huge overreaction that someone's going to be all SEC based on what they did tonight. No, the players who I think will be all SEC, I thought that before, and nothing changes tonight after what I've seen. So I think a lot to be excited about. I really wanted to see these pitchers, and I mentioned it on Tuesday night, and just kind of a quick rundown of things I wanted to see. Pitchers. I wanted to see pitchers dominate. I just want to see pitchers get outs or get out of tough jams. Like, this is the team that you should dominate. This is a team that OU did dominate last year. So let's see these pitchers. I had faith that Sam Landry was going to go out there, start in the circle, and throw up a lot of zeros tonight. And she did. The innings that she pitched, she threw up zeros. But I like to see that kind of top to bottom, and everyone that you threw out there went out and, got up early in counts and had command, were able to locate several pitches. That's what you want. You wanted to overpower a team like Texas A&M Commerce. And more than anything, I kind of wanted to see that in the circle, and I thought that we did see that in the circle. Not ready to proclaim anything crazy when it comes to the pitching staff just yet based on tonight. But look, you take it for what it is. It was an opportunity to kind of showcase the talents to Commerce, Texas, and to your own fan base as well on ESPN+. I know a lot of people were tuned in tonight, incredibly impressed with how many people showed up to Commerce. Notice I said impressed. I didn't say surprised. I said impressed, not surprised. How many people showed up to Commerce, Texas tonight, Oklahoma fans included. A lot of OU fans were there, including some sitting right behind home plate. A lot didn't have a seat. They were sitting out there in the berm in the outfield, and it just shows this program. Again, it doesn't surprise us. We've seen the crowds in Oklahoma City. We've seen the crowds in the regionals and the super regionals. We've seen the crowds at Love's Field. We've seen the crowds regular season games on the road. But I think where I'm most impressed in terms of seeing the growth of softball, in terms of seeing to where the sport is at now, is honestly more than OKC or more at Love's Field and more than any other game OU plays, it's in the fall where it really shows up to me, and I'm so impressed. Like, people are showing up to a fall game that does not count against the win-loss record, and in fact, a lot of people are ultimately going to forget what the final result probably was, but they still show up, they still show out. That's OU fans, that's people in that area that just wanted to get a glimpse of this incredible OU softball team. It's awesome. I love it. And never take for granted. If you're a fan of this program, if you're watching this, you probably are, or just a fan of college softball, never take for granted the heights that this OU softball team has kind of taken college softball, and tonight is another really good example of that. But good, Kirsten Deal had 2 scoreless innings of relief tonight. Again, I like to see the power. I like that this team jumped up early. You had Agbayani in the leadoff spot. She got that leadoff walk early on. We had Abby Dayton hitting in the 2-hole. They get a run in the first. They get 3 runs in the second. It looked exactly how it needed to look. It's not perfect. It doesn't need to be perfect at this stage of the season. I think we all know that. I think Patty Gasso will look as hard as anyone to try to find things throughout the next week of practice to say, all right, we need to continue to fine-tune this. But it's good. Good to go on the road. I think that's even valuable, right? You're going to have to go on the road several times this year, be it a non-conference play, be it an SEC play. And for a young team, or at least a lot of freshmen and some transfer portal players, as this team kind of tries to figure out its groove together and bond a little bit, I think a good way to do that is take a fall road trip like this. No, you're not going across the country. You're not going to Hawaii. You're not going to California or anything like that. But you're taking a bus trip down. You're not playing in the comfortable confines of your own ballpark with the ballpark packed with OU fans. It was a ballpark that was packed, but not necessarily everyone there was cheering on Oklahoma. Nice for this team to kind of get that road game experience and to kind of figure that out as well. But timely hitting, good hitting all around. It's really tough to sit here in a rapid reaction video and be really critical of a whole lot of things that happened tonight. The live stream will be tomorrow night. I'll go back and watch the game and take a little bit more notes, and maybe we can talk about some things that need to be better. But look, score-wise, it looked how it should. I don't think there's much else to say than that. You didn't win a national championship tonight. You didn't win an SEC championship. No one, I don't think, won a position battle. But you got a better glimpse of at least where Patty is kind of thinking right now, that individual hitters where they might be in the order, individual players where they might be in the lineup. Sam Landry was the first pitcher to go out there. So that in some ways is confirmation that Patty and the staff also think that she's probably their best option right now. And throughout the first 3 games throughout the fall, that certainly seems like the case. But interested to break down exactly what the starting lineup looked like, right? I was very surprised that Sid Sanders was essentially hitting 9th in the order. Agbayani leading off, Abby Dayton hitting 2nd. The top of the order, not all that surprising. And in fact, Tia Malloy starting out there, Gabby Garcia at shortstop, which I know a lot of you liked, but a lot to take away, and we'll cover that in the live stream. But just overall, the main point, to reiterate it again, is a good night. A good night, a solid night. You did exactly what I feel like you needed to do to go down there to Texas A&M Commerce and handle, and all the people that showed up, OU fans or otherwise, you put on a show for them. You put on a show for them. A lot of those people, maybe that's the first ever college softball game that they've attended. Maybe they came specifically for the Oklahoma Sooners, and you gave them a show, and that's called growing the game. They want to come see the show, you gave them a show. Ella Parker gave them a show. Cassidy Pickering gave them a show. Maya freaking Bland, baby, let's go. How about that power? Gave them a show tonight. You gave them a show, and hopefully that means they come back in the future. All right, live stream tomorrow. Be there. Want to hear your comments. And as always, appreciate you watching.